David Gergen, White House advisor to 4 presidents, dies at 83. Cause of death and final words revealed. Tell them, lead with humility. Speak with purpose. Serve with truth. July 11, 2025, David Gergen, a rare bipartisan figure who helped shape presidential leadership across 4 administrations, died Friday at the age of 83. Gergen, whose career spanned the political and media worlds, was a trusted counselor in both Republican and Democratic White Houses, and later became a leading voice for ethical public service. His death was confirmed by family members, who said he passed away peacefully surrounded by loved ones. The cause of death was complications from a chronic neurological condition. From speechwriter to presidential confidant. Born in Durham, North Carolina in 1942, Gergen's path to national influence began in the early 1970s as a speechwriter for President Richard Nixon. His intellect and calm presence stood out during one of the most turbulent eras in American political life. But unlike most in Washington, Gergen's service transcended partisanship. Over the next 2 decades, he would hold senior roles under Presidents Gerald Ford, Ronald Reagan, and Bill Clinton, an extraordinary political arc that made him one of the most trusted advisors of the modern presidency. Those close to him said his advice was never delivered with fanfare or ego, but with conviction and clarity, a steady hand behind some of the nation's most pivotal decisions. A legacy of leadership beyond politics. In the years following his time in the West Wing, Gergen became an influential commentator on CNN, widely respected for his balanced, no-nonsense analysis during elections and crises. Yet his most lasting contribution may be in education. At Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government, Gergen served as professor of public service and director of the Center for Public Leadership. There, he mentored thousands of students, urging them to pursue public life grounded in character, compassion, and courage. He once said, "Leadership isn't about power, it's about purpose." Tributes from across the aisle. Tributes from across the aisle. News of Gergen's death sparked an outpouring of tributes from figures on both sides of the political spectrum. Former President Bill Clinton called Gergen a steady voice of wisdom and decency, a man who believed that democracy requires discipline and dignity. Former President George W. Bush praised him as a guardian of reason in Washington, adding, "David served with honesty, without spin." In today's world, that's a legacy in itself. His former students shared stories of late-night policy debates, handwritten notes of encouragement, and lessons that would shape their careers in public service. Cause of death and final words. According to the Gergen family, David passed away due to complications from a chronic neurological condition. He had battled the illness privately in recent years, choosing instead to focus his energy on teaching and advising young leaders. In his final hours, surrounded by his wife and children, Gergen offered parting words that reflect the character of his life and service. Tell them, lead with humility, speak with purpose, serve with truth. These words, the family said, will guide a new foundation they plan to launch in his honor, dedicated to nurturing ethical leadership and responsible governance among emerging public servants. Conclusion. David Gergen's death marks the end of a unique and consequential career, a life lived not in search of the spotlight, but in the service of something larger. He helped presidents communicate, govern, and rebuild trust in democracy. He taught future leaders to do better. As the country reflects on his legacy, one truth stands above all. David Gergen never chased power. He shaped it, wisely, quietly, and always with the greater good in mind.